Okay, so we are in the second section on page AYIN Gimel. So we have explained thus far, and here in this mimer we just summarize and reiterate the principle in this. That in the AYIN Sof itself, there is the element, the aspect of sphirot, and the aspect of sphirot is a structure of sphirot aimed at creation, ultimately. And we explained and we discussed over the weekend the phenomenon of creation of malchut, where malchut effectively reaches out to the outside, and that's creation. And because this phenomenon of sphirot, not an unlimited number of spheres which is representative of AYIN Sof, but sphirot which is a focused aspect of spheres for further development, for creation. This is what enables, what facilitates that this Iyar should be mislabish in keli. I emphasize the word Iyar because I am trying to keep alert, keep us alert to the meaning of the word Iyar. And that Iyar should be mislabish in kelim is really a revolutionary concept. It's almost an impossibility, and yet this is what happens. And the reason that he explains it happens is not due to the fact that the Iyar touches the kelim, but because in the very onset, in the very source of the Iyar, there is this element that it is tending toward mislabshat in kelim. We have, over the time, we presented multiple mishalim for this, examples from human experience, where a human being can very easily and naturally relate to things outside of himself, totally strange things to himself, and yet feel perfectly comfortable with it. The pnimius relate to it because this is sourced in the very truth of his own nefesh. Now we continue further. Lamed Gimel. V'hinei. Behold, zehu gamkein. This is also sibas, the cause, ha'hischalkus, the divisions that take place, that are affected, b'maylo umato she'ez b'esesphiris, of higher and lower, that is present in esesphiris.
His halchus is drawing down.
What? His halchus means division. Division between higher and lower. And we need to focus in and think about this statement, and then it'll come to us. AYIN Sof does not have a milo mat. In AYIN Sof there is no such thing as higher and lower. To illustrate an amoshel for AYIN Sof, when we say a amoshel for AYIN Sof, this is not just a figure of speech, but it has phenomenal significance. What we have to understand is, yes, indeed, Hashem created a world. And the disparity and the difference between the creator and the created is not a question of a difference. It's It's an entirely different orientation, different phenomenon. This is Ein Sof, and this is a finite entity. Yet, it is important to understand that as the Rebbe created the world, he created the world giving the world an imprint of who its creator is, representing the aspect of Ein Sof clearly on a worldly level, and yet it is nevertheless represented. And this representation, this is what enables us to understand the phenomenon of Ein Sof. I mention all the time, the physical light that was created in the first day of creation. Adam was able to see, as a result of this light, from one end of the world to the other. And then Hashem had to conceal it, to withdraw this light, conceal the light, because this was kind of canceling out the world and the worldly aspect of world. The worldly worldliness could not correlate and tolerate this kind of revelation. But nonetheless, it is there, as we discussed many times. And this is what facilitates our own means of understanding Ein Sof. What is a moshel of Ein Sof within the worldly criterion? Because the moshel for that is a circle, especially a globe, where there is no top nor down. Whichever way you put it down, it is top and down. And it can vary completely. There's not a pre-assigned top and down to it. This is a concept of Ein Sof in the world. So the Rebbe says, within Ein Sof itself, there is no such thing as subdivision of division, dividing Milo and Mato, higher and lower. How come in the world, in the sphirot, there is union of Milo and Mato? How is it made possible that it should be a Milo and Mato in the sphirot? That is caused by the union that we discussed, that inherent in the sphirot, in the source, there is also that union. And this is what the Rebbe is explaining. Zehu Gamkin. These two sibas is the cause, his chalkos, the subdivision, the Milo Mato Be'ashesh Be'ashesh of higher and lower, that is present in sphirot. What do we mean by Milo Mato Be'ashesh? Sheharei, since that sphirot V'atzilus, Hein B'bchinas Milo Mato. That's sphirot V'atzilus do have, they are so structured and so and so active that there is in you from Sphirot, from Milo Mato. Shehachoch, where is the union from Milo Mato? In Sphirot. Shehachochmo he, where the chochmah is l'maylo, the madrego, is of a higher madrego than mehabina than bina. So chochmah and bina, we have the subdivision of Milo Mato, higher and lower. Even though there is this perfect interaction between chochmah and bina, yet chochmah remains Milo and bina remains Mato. V'ha-moichin, and then in general, moichin is l'maylo mehamidis. Moichin are higher than Midas. Ad HaMalchus, we'll discuss it in a moment. Ad HaMalchus, until you go all the way to Malchus, Shehi Soif the whole Dargim, which is the end of all Madrigas of Atzilus, and that Nikros Mato. Malchus is called Mato. This is the bottom of Atzilus.
I'm confused.
Yeah.
You just said a few seconds ago, chochmah is maila and binah is mata. Now we're saying malchut is mata also.
Chochmah relative to binah is maila and binah is mata.
Okay.
In general, in Atzilus,
Okay.
Malchus in general, the whole structure of sphirot, Malchus is the bottom and chochmah is the top.
Okay.
Yeah. So to understand this, let's go a little further and then we'll be exposed to this principle. The Rebbe explains, we have to remember, the Be'oir Ein Sof, Atzmus Mahusai, because that in the Oir Ein Sof, in the Atzmus Mahus of Ein Sof itself, Lo Yesh Inye Mailo Mat. There is not the whole principle, the whole phenomenon of Mailo Mat, of higher and lower. Ukmesha Kosu Be'etz Chaim B'tchin Loser. And as it is written in Eitz Chaim, in the very beginning of Eitz Chaim, yeah. So it says like this in Eitz Chaim: Terem shenetzlu hanetzolim, prior to the Atzilus, that the Netzolim is Atzilus, before Atzilus came into the definition. Hoyo, there was Oir Elyon, a supreme Oir, Poshut. Poshut means, the word Poshut means simple. The implication over here is not just the concept of simplicity, but the concept of a truth that does not lend itself to be defined with any qualities. Oir Elyon, a supreme Oir, Poshut, totally without any kinks, without any defining elements. And in this Oir Elyon Poshut, there was not the phenomenon of Milo Mato, higher and lower, Roish V'Sov, or top and bottom, the beginning and end. And yet in the sphirot, yesh is chalkus ma'lo mato. There is the subdivision of higher and lower. This is the issue that we are focusing in. How come in sphirot there is the union of his chalkus, of division, higher and lower, and the Oir Ein Sof itself, there is no ma'lo mato. How come where does this Milo Matter element come into the spheres? The spheres which are emanations from the Ein Sof. what would be a means for us to, I mean, we can just pass this by and just say the words, but if you want to understand what this is about, there is no Rosh, so there is no head and no end, no beginning and no end. What is this Inyan? There's no beginning and no end. So we discuss it many times. Daylight, as compared to a flashlight, or any light that is dependent on a source that flows from a source. Oh, there is water here. Oh, thank you.
I thought it was just steam.
As I mentioned before, daylight is really a super worldly phenomenon. Daylight encompasses the world all at once, even though it was subsequently qualified, limited, and there is a source for it. And we said the first day that there was no source, light. Then afterwards there's the sun, it is a source for it. Nonetheless, the light is so all-encompassing, so transformative, that you do not sense that there's a possibility, there is such thing as darkness, and the darkness is being eliminated by flashing a light on it. Light takes over and transforms the entire existence, such that there is no darkness at all. And therefore there is no source for the light. No beginning and no end. Clearly this is of a limited principle, but nonetheless it is exposing this concept. Within the worldly context, this is a light that has no beginning and no end. It is a demonstration, it is replication of the AYIN itself. On a worldly level, it is nonetheless reminiscent and replication of the infinite Ein Sof. There is no top and no bottom. What then is the impact of daylight? Daylight is also exposing the world, but it's exposing the world in a different manner. It's exposing the world on a more refined, on a more subtle and a truer level. It is exposing that things are visible, not focusing, look at this, look at this, look at that. In daylight you see the entire panorama, not shining a light on this tree or on that tree, but just exposing the reality. This is a godly creation, and therefore it is visible. It's exposing the truth of its presence rather than a focused attention-calling element, the way it would be on a worldly level. This is what REBBE says, that before the Tzimtzum, before that answer, there was Elim Poshut. There's one oil Elim superior oil Poshut which is totally all-encompassing, and all it's saying is that there is a truth, and everything is incorporated is part of that truth. Like we say in our experience of daylight, you see it because it's visible, because of the same truth that exposes this trait, exposes that trait, and that trait. There is not an active aspect that exposes each individual thing. And therefore, there's no top and bottom. There's no beginning and no end. Everything is being exposed simultaneously. And yet, so this is how it is. It says in Eitz Chaim that before Atzilus, there was Elim Poshut. There was a supreme oil Poshut. And in that oil there was no such thing as top and bottom, or ratio soy for beginning and end. And yet, in the sphirot, yesh is chalvos ma'alo mata. There is that subdivision. It's a real subdivision. There is something. It's divided. The top is in a certain category all by itself, and bottom is in a category by itself. Like we said, chochmah and binah are in two different categories. And therefore the question here is, if the oil itself has no ma'alo mato, how then does that materialize, so to speak, come to be in the sphirot? Sphirot are representative of the oil itself. This is what sphirot are. So if this represents sphirot, how come in sphirot there is the union for ma'alo mato? There is a difference between one madriga and another madriga. One is higher and one is lower. Let's take chochmah and binah as a point of discussion. Chochmah has to precede binah. Chochmah is what permits the revelation of binah. I'd like to explain this phenomenon. Normally, we think of binah as identifying individual pieces and how they correlate. In our simple language, a table is an entity unto itself within the room. It has its place. Next to the table, once it's a table, you can put a chair next to it. And you can put things on the table. One brings about the other. The table, presence of the table, enables you to put things on the table, sphirot on the table. And also, it facilitates that you should have a chair next to it so you could sit next to the table and learn this for you. This is like a domino effect. One thing brings about the other. However, we must understand this is not what is meant by binah. A domino effect is there is not a unity among these things. They're not representing some kind of a reality. One is a cause to the other. Individual, are we learning here or are we not learning here? What's going on here?
The one doesn't lead to the other. It's not a domino effect.
What are your feet leading you?
My feet need a stretch, I'm sorry.
I really can't learn like this.
Rabbi, it's like the person davening who's
No, I can't learn like this. If we can't have we can't learn like this. I have no tightness.
Rabbi,
Who is the rabbi?
you.
No, I'm not the rabbi.
But are you giving much with someone davening and walking as they daven and they don't realize they're walking because they're paying attention to what's going on? So they don't feel their feet moving?
This one stretches in the middle like he's in bed. This one, I can't do it like this. I'm sorry, this is just, it just doesn't work. I need attention.
You're saying you might have thought the one leads to the other, that they're sequential, that it's a domino effect, but it's not that. Okay.
What is binah? Binah is, yes, understanding the details, but all the details are within all the details are within one truth. Otherwise, these are disparaging disparate details. Each is an entity unto itself.
So wait, there's multiplicity, but there's multiplicity. There's a whole variety, but they're originating from one nakud.
They're representing one nakud,
as opposed to being sort of circumstantial.
It's a separate thing. This is chochmah and binah. That's why chochmah and binah is one unit. Chochmah and binah always go together. One may ask, chochmah v'shida, chochmah is a supreme concept. We say binah is a close relative. How is it close?
A constant companion.
How is it a constant companion? It's a completely different world. She says, no, the phenomenon of binah is binah senses and relates to the truth of chochmah. This is what binah, where binah draws its details. Doesn't know the details from external experience.
Okay.
It draws its details from the chochmah.
Right, and in that, have we yet addressed how there's a higher and lower yet, or are we still looking at that?
Okay. So this is what we're trying to say. Chochmah, binah draws from the chochmah, which means that chochmah has to come first. This is Roish V'Soif. Chochmah has to first present this Indian on a chochmah level, and from that, binah can draw its recognitions, its aspects.
Fine, but that's like putting the answer before the question. I mean, is that?
You are putting the answer before the question.
That's our answer right there.
Yeah, I'm just explaining that chochmah and binah is Rosh V'Sof. And chochmah has to come first, then binah. Because why chochmah has to come first and binah? Because binah does not create its own world. It's simply exposing that which chochmah contains. Without chochmah, there is no binah.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why I mentioned that if binah is simply constructing thing in a domino effect, then there's no chochmah. Doesn't need chochmah. It creates its own little structure. But the truth is that chochmah, that binah is simply exposing that which is contained in the chochmah.
Right, but we had the question because seemingly you may think that they're all equally high.
That will come back. It says originally there was no bottom, top and bottom. In the oil itself, there's no top and bottom.
Okay, and in sphirot genuzos perhaps.
But then afterwards in Atzilus, there is already the idea from top and bottom, like chochmah and binah. Chochmah is top and binah is bottom. But prior to that, there is no top and bottom. The question is, where is this top and bottom come from?
Can I ask something?
Yeah, just one second. Let's get back together over here. Every time that we mentioned the principle of a home, Odom Shin Bayis Any Odom, we always point out that a home is a supreme reality of a human being. But the minute that you think of a home, you think of all the amenities that fill the home. These amenities, as you point out, they are based on the home. They're drawn from the home aspect.
This is a nimshal. This is a mashal for chochmah and binah.
That's right.
Is it saying anything different, or exactly what we pointed out, that all the details originate by it?
No, it's saying exactly the same thing, except I'm trying that we should recognize it, we should relate to it. Yeah, it's saying the same thing.
Okay.
I'm just pointing out. So we see that binah is drawn from chochmah. This is a phenomenal thing. When you have a home, and you have a chair and a table, and you have a bed, and you say, no, but this is drawn all from a home. How is it in each individual entities? What is their relationship to a home? So we pointed out many times that they properly belong in the home, and without the home, they're not really a table and a chair and not a bed. They have their functional aspect, but not the impact of what these things stand for. In full impact, they have to be related to a home. This is why binah it depends on the chochmah to give it its spirit. And therefore, chochmah has to come first, is higher, and binah is lower. And their interrelationship is perfect. Binah relates to chochmah. The question is, what the Rebbe is now talking about, this is chalkus of malo mato, which does not exist in AYIN Sof itself. How come it exists later on, and it's mislabish in the kelim, and then, as I said, it be pnimis in a perfect union, relationship. In our moshel, I'd like we should understand the Mashalim are very important. In our moshel, this exposure, let's say, the table and chair and the home, the union between table and chair and the home is very important. Otherwise, you come into the home, you see a table and chair. What are you doing here? I don't need a chair. I'm not going to sit. I don't intend to sit. So therefore, the chair is just interfering with my view of the home. You said no, it doesn't. Not only it's not interfering, it's complementing, it's revealing what a home is. Why? Because in the root of a home there is already all these amenities, and therefore they fit perfectly. This is what the Rebbe is explaining. All right.
Hello?
Yeah.
Yeah. Can I still ask something?
Go ahead, but too much time you don't have. Go ahead.
We're speaking about the sphirot, but in the Eshes sphirot Agnizas, there's also Eshes sphirot. But there is also a Rosh Hashanah.
Eshes sphirot Hagnuzah is, yes, there's Eshes sphirot, but it's called Eshes sphirot bli ma. There is not an individual presence there. It's called bli ma. That's what we said before. Without a...
So the Rosh Hashanah is only in a sphirot.
Yeah. That comes after two, but you can sabish in Katie. All right.
In describing the relationship between
disconnected
chochmah and binah, we didn't really answer the question yet, right? Above a certain level, full partnership is now high and low, right?
It's the same
point
that we discussed still back. And it's going to be exposed on this level. The reason that there is that relationship, that difference, is because inherent in the oil there is also.
So you're going to be addressing it with the same principle we already
Same
said.
principle, the whole thing. Exactly the same principle. Except now he gets